Tuia ki ronga, tuia ki raro, tuia ki roto, tuia ki waho, tuia tatu te tangata, ki te kaupapa o te hui nei, ki te kaupapa o te rangi nei, Māori ora ki a tātou katoa. And that is basically says bind above, below, within, beyond, bind us the people to the purpose of our meeting, to the purpose of this day, and breathe life into all of us.
Right, well, welcome to this navigation bylaw hearing and deliberations for today. The panel is Councillor Butler, who just did the Karakia, Councillor Dowler from Motueka, Councillor Dakey from Richmond, and myself, I'm Councillor Kipmailing, and I'm from Richmond. Just a bit of housekeeping. So we will have some people on Zoom once we get the system working. We've got the news media in the room as well. This meeting will be available on Council's YouTube channel later. Microphones muted unless you're speaking. And when people come to submit, we'll get you to come up to the tables, and there's a red button that you push the microphone on. Toilets are outside to the left. If we have an earthquake, you get under these tables. And if we have a fire alarm, we meet in the car park out to the left. Okay, so first of all, I don't think we've got any apologies. No. And then we'll start with the submitters. So I've got Judith Mitchell is first. So Judith, if you'd like to come up and take whichever seat you like. And we've got 5 minutes, and I think it's going to be timed at the back. And you'll get a ding at 4, but we've read your submissions. So it's just anything you want to add. So, yeah, there's a button at the front there. If someone, Amy, if you can help, and pull it towards you, because otherwise you can't hear.
Thank you.
There you go, Judith.
Thank you. Kia tātou katoa, welcome. I'm sorry, greetings to you all. And my name is Judy Mitchell, and I'm a long-time resident of Mapua. And thank you for this opportunity to speak. Briefly, it will be to, in particular, to Part 2, Clause 12.1a of the draft bylaw. I know the panel has had very strong feedback on the original clause, which banned swimming and jumping and diving and so on places that are referred to as landing places, which has a very broad definition. And in doing so, covered all sorts of places where people do swim often, from Lake Rotoriti to Araroa to Mapua. I'm relieved to learn that this was apparently unintentional, and that there is now an alternative clause, 12.1 and 2, that's been put forward. As I read these clauses, I understand that to be pretty much the status quo, where swimmers do their thing, but are mindful of boats moving around the landing places, berthing they call it, which is what we've always have done, and I trust this version is the one that you will adopt. But just in case you're tempted to stick with the original, I'd just like to remind you that swimming and related water activities are a New Zealanders' birthright. They're free, they're healthy, everybody can do them. And in relation to Mapua Wharf and Glossy Point in particular, which are our concerns, these activities have been going on for generations, since I was a child there, when kids drove their bikes off the wharf. And until now, when it's now one of the most dominant activities at Mapua Wharf in the summer, families go there specifically for wharf jumping, swimming and water activities, and the families spend money on food while their children are playing in the water. It's become something of a rite of passage. I think if you tried to ban that at Mapua Wharf, you would get a different demographic and probably fewer people coming there. It would also be extremely difficult to police and probably be defied fairly regularly. There are warning notices there to look out for boats, and I think people have always done that, and we would continue to do that. But as swimmers are the most vulnerable users of the water, they do need protection from motorised vessels. And I know there's a maritime safety rule that says vessels should not be going more than 5 knots within 50 metres of a swimmer. I couldn't find that initially in the bylaw, but I now know that it has been, that it's under clause 29(1), but it's got modifications, got things attached to it, like unless this or unless that. And I think that's very dangerous. I think that rule, which the Maritime New Zealand one should stay clean as it is, that there's no excuse for going more than 5 knots if you're close to a swimmer. And lastly, I do have a concern that if we are unfortunate enough to get the proposed Mapua boat ramp given the green light, we've got a two-way all-tide boat ramp just along from the wharf, and boats will be coming from everywhere to use it because of easy access to the open sea. That you will have boats backing up, queuing up to get back on the ramp to get out. And where are they going to queue? Because there's no pontoon with the plans. And I would hate to see that Mapua Wharf became just a sea of boats waiting to get onto the ramp, and so that swimming and jumping became unsafe. I think there needs to be thought about how rules about where boats can go in relation to the wharf, and perhaps areas where swimmers know that they're not going to be encountering boats. And that's all really. I just very strongly recommend that you accept the alternative, or the modified, revised clause 12(1) and 2, particularly with the bit at the bottom of 2, that talks about basically saying that if there's a boat berthing at one end of the wharf, someone can still swim at the other end. Maybe those things could be made a little clearer. But that's all I have to say on that. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Were we doing timing? Doing the time. Oh, look at that. You were? Good. Okay, thanks, Judith. We heard what you said, and so there was 163 submissions on that, I think, in particular. So Kate Mitchell's on Zoom, so we will delay that. Greg Swan is the next one I have here. Not here. Peter Quartergast, not here. So, and then I've got Bridget Miller. So these are all these ones that were down. Miranda Skeeking. No. Sally Matthews or Belinda Ellis. None of these people confirmed, but they did put their names down. Let's go down. Does this scroll, Gavin? That's didn't be in. Use your mouse. Oh, I use the mouse. All right. Really? Yeah, I know. It's not scrolling. It's not scrolling for me. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Right. Lucy Clark. She's at 1. So let's just have a look. So two more here. So we've got Maria Fillery and Jeff Quarterly. No? All right. Who's here in the back that wants to speak? And if you're here now, we might as well hear you. And your name?
Bailey.
Spencer?
Bailey.
Bailey. And when were you down to speak, Spencer?
1:45.
Yep. Does it save some time? From Mark? Yep. We'll start with you. So you get 5 minutes?
Yes, wait. Well, am I understanding I can give you guys a copy of my submission just for your own records?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah. Yep. You could have just handed it to the staff. That's all right. I think we've already read. Okay. Is this a new one, is it?
That's what I'm going to say is I read.
Right. Well, you'll have to speak quick. You've got 5 minutes.
Okay.
And you'll be dinged at 5. or just before. All right.
Right, well, my name is Spencer Bailey. I am the operations manager at Taxis, and I have been a skipper on the coastline here for about 20 years. And so firstly, I want to address the understatement of the year. The documents for this meeting state that in response to the requirement for us to fit AIS into our vessels, and I quote, some commercial operators raised concerns. Well, for both the record and our written submission, and what I'm here to tell you today is that we vehemently disagree with this proposal. We don't simply have concerns about it, we see it as an outrageous piece of new law, and we can find absolutely no evidence to support it. Of all the reasons that the Harbour Master have both in our conversations and in the documents for this meeting, the only one that was vaguely plausible is to identify opportunity boats in the case of the search and rescue operation. While that may sound okay, in reality it just actually doesn't stack up. I've been involved in countless incidents over the years, and our current systems have proved perfect just as they are. Okay, so what would normally happen? Maritime Radio, Search and Rescue, New Zealand Police, and the Harbour Master, they all have our numbers, personal numbers, our direct office lines, and they'll give us a call if there's an incident. While I'm talking on the phone, I'm on the radio straight away, putting out in all stations. Which of you boys is closest to, Stay Park Bay? I'll give it an immediate response, and the boys will quickly work out who's I'm pretty loud anyway, aren't I?
We people on Zoom.
Okay.
But not at the moment. We've still not got it working.
Okay. So this has always worked perfectly, and we actually have a fantastic record, and we're extremely proud of it. And over these many years, we've actually kept the Able Tasman coastline safer than all of those above institutions have combined. And for many years, we've been the go-to company in these emergency situations. At no time in the last 20 years would the AIS have been of any use to us at all. Okay, in fact, it might even slow down our response. It's just another step in the process of locating a vessel. Okay. What you need to realise that AIS may locate the vessel, but it still needs to be contacted by the radio. Boom, we're already straight there. We know the approximate location of all of our 14 vessels at all times, and the skippers definitely know their exact location. So AIS is simply a different way of locating a vessel, but it is definitely not the fastest way of doing so. And it's completely superfluous to our requirements, and that's both internally and externally helping other people out. And this view is entirely supported by our governing body, Maritime New Zealand, okay, who state in your own meeting documents, quite hard to find, I'll say, but adding further equipment requirements for commercial shipping that are not supported in relevant maritime rules, creating an undesirable precedent and creating additional compliance costs for commercial operators to comply with, okay? Basically, Maritime New Zealand does not agree with this proposal. A disappointing omission we noted in the bylaw review is once again the complete lack of private boat, recreational boat education. We're still in a position here where anybody can buy a boat, go to sea without even knowing the giveaway rules, okay? This is by far the biggest navigational hazard on the coastline, probably causing up to 90% of the friction and tension on the coastline. And, this does result in a sort of a series of petty complaints. The Harbour Master, he suggested AIS would help give substance to these complaints by disclosing our exact locations, but if all the private vessels don't have AIS as well, it tells half the story, doesn't really paint the picture at all. The final reason cited for requiring AIS in commercial vessels is to ensure our compliance with the basic navigational laws, okay? In the last 25 years, Aquataxi has been issued with a grand total of 2 minor infringement notices. Our skippers live and breathe the coastline rules, and it is a part of the job that every operator in the park takes very seriously, okay? In a way, the coastline is basically self-regulated. Everyone's got a phone in their pocket. They can have a photo in their phone in 2 to 3 seconds, okay? All along the coastline, we've got Project Yansoon cameras. DOC have got cameras all along. And I know for sure that the TDC have got access to all these cameras, all these photos, okay? So where exactly is the evidence of a compliance problem that needs to be solved by the installation of AIS? Councillors, let me present to you a simple analogy. Imagine a new green as the hills cop walking into town.
Nothing personal there, Pete. And he's, even though you've never had a parking or a speeding ticket in your whole life, he requires you to install a tracking system in your vehicle just to ensure compliance. Okay. Well, it turns out you have 14 cars, and this will cost you about $40,000 every 3 years, assuming the device lasts even that long, given these devices offer a 1-year warranty. It also turns out we're the only town in New Zealand in which this is required. It also turns out that the new Green Cops Regularity Control Group, in this case Maritime New Zealand, also thinks it's a stupid idea. Okay, without the evidence of his top support of his top brass, he's not really standing on any kind of solid legal ground at all. Is that my 5 minutes? Yes, it is.
So just finish up.
I'm pretty damn there. The only precedent around the country for this requirement is of AIS's Auckland and Wellington harbours for vessels carrying over 200 passengers. These harbours, particularly Auckland, are a lot busier than the Tasman Bay coastline. So any suggestion that we're especially busy reflects a staggering delusion of grandeur. As the harbour master has stated in the meeting documents, AIS are necessary given the nature and extent of commercial passenger carrying activity in the Tasman district. I suggest one should visit the Hauraki Gulf on a summer's day. It will be crawling with fishing charter boats, water taxis, etc. If the requirement for AIS on small commercial vessels was such a good idea, why hasn't it been done in Auckland? Why in Tasman Bay, one of the statistically and geographically safest coastlines in the country, do we need AIS? Is that the TDC determined to lead the way in smothering small business with yet more unnecessary layers of compliance in the form of bureaucracy and unwarranted costs? Okay, in conclusion, I would like to stress that this proposal for AIS is a completely arbitrary, off-the-wall requirement. It has no evidential backbone and is completely opposed by the governing body of the maritime industry in this country. Thank you.
Fine, we've got your message.